So am I just plugging -1 into the X
E-
box?
e- Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I recommend using this whole idea of parentheses, like assume the variable is in parentheses.
F4.
Okay. Are you pretty confident in your answer?
Um, I, th I think so.
Okay. So it's really important that you put it in parentheses here. So like it's minus one squared, which is one. Two times -1 is plus two plus five. So see how that's a slightly different result than what you've got there. So if you get that, if you don't put the variable in parentheses, which is what I really recommend here doing, it's the best way to get the right answer. You will not have issues with signs, sign errors basically. Because as soon as like one's negative or the other's negative or not, that's where you run into issues.
Okay.
So we're going to do another example like this, if I could find it.
Wait,
Um,
so is the answer
Answer's
8?
eight. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And just where where is this? Um, Sorry, it don't know why it's taking me so long to find. I had some really good function problems. I'm about to make one up, but it's not that, not that, not that, not that. Okay. Let's say f of x equals minus x squared plus 3x, and you want to evaluate for x equals -1. And we're going to leave this as free response. So like I said, best thing to do is to treat that variable like it's in parentheses, and that's where that number goes. So give that a try, please.
Okay, I just have one.
Final answer is 1.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you write something like this?
Yeah.
Okay, so order of operations says to do exponents first. So what is -1 to the power of 2? Let's start with that.
-2.
So you're multiplying -1 by itself. -1 squared means -1 times -1.
Oh yeah. Oops.
So that becomes +1, and then you bring down this negative. And then 3 times -1 is -3. So how do you want to change your answer?
I see what I did wrong.
It's okay.
So the answer is -4.
Yes, good. Very good. Okay. Let's look at another one here. I did find the page I was looking for. All right, so go ahead and evaluate here for g of -2 this time. Can you read this? Is this clear enough?
Is that -x2 -1 -2x?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Give that a try, because I'll be right back with you. All right, Hudson, I am back. How are you doing on this one?
Um, I think I'm almost done.
Okay.
I have -9.
That. Okay, let's take a look here. So -2 squared is 4, and then you negate it, so that's -4 minus 1. -2 times -2, it's better to treat the operator like it's going with it. That becomes +4. +4.
Oh. Oh. Oh, okay.
So how do you want to change your answer?
That's -1.
Correct. You ready to do another one?
Sure.
All right. Let's say h of x equals 1 plus x squared minus x, and I want you to find h of -3.
13.
Let's take a look here. 1 plus -3 squared minus a -3. 1 plus 9 plus 3 is 13. Very good. All right, like that. Okay, let's see about some other ones here. Let's say I give you f of a equals -3a squared minus a, and I want you to find f of -1, please.
Okay, I have 17. Sorry, I don't know if you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Apologize, I did mute myself. I was drinking some coffee. I was asked if you had this written because the answer you gave me is just a little bit off here. You have to do the exponent before you multiply. So this becomes -3 times 1. So it becomes -3 plus 1.
Okay, I did -3 times -1 and then
So we can't make up our own rules, right? Like, the stuffing goes in before you make the turkey. If you put the stuffing in the turkey, kind of thing. Like, we gotta do it the way that the rules require. So this is -2. Okay, let's look at another one here. Let's say it's g of b equals -5b plus 2b squared, and I want you to find g of -2 for it, please.
I have 18.
That sounds good. So I'm detecting a little bit of a pattern here, which is the typical case, which is it's like when everything works out positive, that's great. It's when there's these signs, that's where it's a little bit more challenged. Let's see if we can do one more here. I'm gonna throw in just one more little wrinkle. Let's say it's f of y equals -2y, sorry, no, parentheses, -2y cubed minus y squared plus y, and find f of -1 for me, please. F of -1.
Okay.
We'll probably move on to some solving here in a moment.
Okay, I have 6.
Let's take a look here. So -2 times -1 cubed minus 1 squared plus -1. So it's -2 times -1 for -1 to the power of 3. So basically -1, existing to an odd power is always -1. -1 to an even power is always +1. And 1 to any power is always 1. This becomes -1 plus -1. So still having some issues here with signs. Where are you different? Where do you see like yourself being different? Was it,
Um, so I accidentally did my -1 times 3 instead of,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier you're doing some exponent things, so it's okay. I think that's, we can review a bit more on that. I'll try to remember that for next time. Um, so really quickly here, could you tell me 2 to the power of the 3 and 3 to the power of 2? These are not the same answer. They're
Okay.
not the same answer, so just give that a try, please.
So the first one is 8, and the
Okay,
second one's 9.
very good. All right, so let's get back to solving. Now we talked about order of operations. So when you're simplifying, you go this direction, right? You go to the right. But when you're solving, you go back this way. So you always undo addition and subtraction before multiplication and division. Okay. Now we haven't done much with fractions, so I'm gonna just throw a problem at you and maybe it'll make sense. Hopefully it does here. So 2/3 x equals -1/5. You got to solve the equation. Go ahead and just give this a try. I'll definitely show you how to work it out if it's unclear, but I'd like you to try it out first.
Okay. Okay, I have uh so -3 times x equals -3 times.
Okay. So we didn't talk about this, but let's just say you follow the rules we were just talking about. Um, like let's say all right, well, it's multiplying, so I undo multiplication with division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2/3. Okay. So that's weird. I mean, it just looks wrong. It's not wrong, but it doesn't look right. So the better approach here is to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reason that works is because on the left side, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, becomes just x. So when you multiply by the reciprocal, which is effectively the same as this, but it's better to do multiplying by the reciprocal, that is your best path here. And then when you multiply fractions, you multiply the tops and the bottoms. So in this case, you get -3/10.
Okay.
So I would recommend using that range if you can.
Okay.
So here is another problem. Now I got to put a little wrinkle in there for you. Like I can't just give you the exact same thing, we'll challenge you here a little bit. What is different about this problem on the right-hand side?
There's a whole number involved.
Yeah, it's called the technical name is a mixed number. It's a mix of a whole and a fraction. So do you remember how to convert that to an improper fraction?
Hmm.
Okay. I would recommend doing that first and then multiplying by the reciprocal like we did and
Okay.
seeing what you come up with, please.
Okay, I have 2/1.
As your final answer?
Hmm.
Okay, so this should have been 5/3. You multiply by 6/5. And your final answer is 2, like you said. Good. All right. So we'll make it just a tiny bit more complicated here. These are one-step equations, but they're with fractions. They're a little bit more, challenging. Here you got improper uh, fractions.
Okay. I have -13/24.
Like this.
Hmm.
All right, so this ends up being -8/3 equals 13/9x. So this side, this time it's the reciprocal on the right.
Oh,
And so that will slightly adjust what you're doing here. Does that look similar? Do you need to make an adjustment to your answer?
I multiplied 13. Wait, yeah, wait.
Looks like you have the kind of the flip of the answer.
Okay, yeah, so I multiplied 13/9 by -3/8.
Right. So like that's not wrong. Like it's going the wrong direction. Like what you did would like it's fine that you did that. The thing is that your variable is still on on the right. So when you multiply by 3 over -8 on the left, you just get 1 equals minus 13 over 24 times x. You still have to get the variable by itself. Right. So that's why it's better to, you should focus on the side with the variable. So like it's taking like a lot of like wrong turns to get to the right answer. That there's a better way. It's like this. Okay, so let's try another one here. Then we'll get back to some multiple choice questions. So the fraction review is critical. A lot of students forget how to work with fractions and decimals. Do you remember how to convert this number 0.4 to a fraction?
That would just be 4/10, right?
4 over 10 or 2 over 5. So make that change and then do the same thing we've been doing to solve for the variable, multiplying by the reciprocal.
Okay. I have minus 20 over 18.
Okay. Does that reduce?
Yeah, to 1 1/9.
Oh, no, sorry. What I meant is you can leave it as an improper fraction. You just want to reduce the fraction. So it becomes negative 10 over 9, or like you said, negative 1 and 1/9.
Oh,
This is
okay.
preferred though. I just grabbed some of these from a pre-algebra final exam, so they're emphasizing both formats. The All right, so now let's move on to some more difficult problems. Um, like we talked about, when you solve, you undo addition and subtraction before multiplication division. So you look at the side with the variable. 5 over 2 is multiplying the y, 11 is being added. So how do you undo the addition?
Subtraction.
Right, so you're going to subtract, move that number over, and then you're going to do the same thing to undo the variable.
So I would subtract 11 from -1.
Yes.
I have minus 24 over 5.
So you're going with answer A?
Oh, oops. Yeah.
Just making sure. Yeah. So you multiply everything by 2/5. And yeah, it's minus 24 over 5. All right, good job on that. So let me give you one now without multiple choice. It's always a little bit more challenging when it's free response because your answer isn't there. In some ways, this is test prep, review, but give this one a try, please.
Okay. I have 120 over 4.
Okay, does that reduce?
Yeah.
Can you divide both the top and the bottom by 2, then by maybe 2 again? You would just keep trying the number.
Would reduce to 30.
Yes. Any questions on that?
Mm-mm.
All right, good job. So we are the next type of problems will have variables on both sides. And so what your processor is, you always move smaller to larger. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about here, we will take a look with this. So which is smaller, minus 3K or minus 6K?
Minus 6K.
It's like 3 is smaller than 6, but minus 6 is smaller than minus 3. So you're going to move that to the other side by adding it to both sides. And then you have a problem like the ones we've been doing. So go ahead and solve that for us, please.
-2.
Okay. Now, one of the ways you can check your answer is you can actually put that value back in. That is a test taking strategy, but for us, we're not gonna we don't want to start with that. We want to actually learn the algebra. So yeah, that is correct. Good. Any questions up for give you another one to try?
Mm, no.
Okay. All right. Doing great. It's like getting a workout in. You're gonna feel a little better doing a little math today. So here you go. Solve this equation.
Okay, I'm kind of confused on what to do.
So you have variables on both sides of the equation. Which is smaller, 4x or 6x?
4x,
Okay, so when you subtract that from both sides, what is left over on the left side?
just x,
Nope, because
0.
it's 0, yeah. Now your focus is on the side with the variable. Like doesn't like this could be 0, it could be 10, it could be actually we don't care. You look at the side with the variable. What do you undo first? Multiplication or addition?
Um,
Which do you undo first? Multiplication or the addition?
oh, the addition.
Okay. So subtract 30 from both sides, then undo the 2.
So is that negative 15?
All right, so let's have you try one more here. Let's have you try 1 1/2x equals 3x minus 4, please. So I would recommend converting this to an improper fraction. It's kind of like the last one where once you move it over, you get 0 on one side, and then you'll have to manipulate the equation.
Yeah, I'm confused on what to do.
Okay. So when you subtract 3/2 from both sides, I mean, there's a couple ways to do that. Making a common denominator is one way. 3/1 minus 3/2 ends up being 6/2 minus 3/2, which ends up just being 3/2. Or the other way is you could say, oh, that's really 1.5x. So when you subtract it, it's 1.5x minus 4. Then you add 4 to both sides. 4 equals 3/2 x. What do you do from here? What's the next step to solve this? How do you undo the 3/2?
Multiplication.
by the reciprocal, yeah. And so it's really 4/1, so it becomes 8/3 equals x. And there you have it. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Good job.